Ha 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 ha. All right. Today's show, the same one as we did yesterday. This one is the pre-game show. Yesterday was the post-game show. And I was on David's show last night. And what did I do wrong here? Here we go. Add some light over here. That'll make that look better.
You've been busy, Frank.
Yeah. So I also had a meeting with the FRC, the Football Writers of Canada. I've been very busy. Had a bunch of stuff that I was doing. It helps to negate the whining and the whimpering. So we talked about Stolarz last night, and the conclusion I drew was, if he ain't dressing this morning, he ain't playing tonight. So I leave you to follow up there.
Right. So it does turn out that he is currently listed as out. He was originally listed as day-to-day earlier this morning. He did have breakfast with the team. He was released from the hospital late last night. This is kind of one of those situations where nothing will really work for the Leafs, at least when it comes to public opinion on social media. Like, if Stolarz plays, he obviously faked it to try to get a penalty on Sam Bennett. Screw those guys. The league is in favor of the Leafs. If he doesn't show up at the arena and he doesn't practice with the team and he doesn't take breakfast with the team, he's soft. He's a pool widow baby that got a boo boo. The pool widow we go. And if he's starting, it's like, obviously he faked it. There's no two ways around it. You can make yourself puke. He probably swallowed his finger. There's no possible outcome here for it to look good for the Maple Leafs. But Woll is going to be starting. Matt Murray is going to be backing him up. They asked Berube about it this morning, and he said, the whole reason we're bringing Matt in there is mainly because of his experience when it comes to playing in the Stanley Cup. Stolarz is currently out, and Matt is going to be in Joseph's ear and walking and talking him through everything. So glad to see that. Seen a lot of articles that say, Craig Berube made a shocking and unfathomable decision. It's like, do you guys even know what those words mean? Like, it sounds like clickbait.
Yes, that's all it is. Yes, that's all it is. It's clickbait. So let's try our own version of clickbait. I had the good fortune of watching the Edmonton game last night. I say good fortune because I had the opportunity to see an almost duplicate, except for two minor details. I saw almost the exact thing happen to the Vegas goaltender Hill. And in this case, Connor Brown played the part of Bennett, right? And so what happened was he was making a play and trying to take a shot at the net, and there was a defender on him, and Brown was in between the defender and the goaltender, and he brushed by the goaltender, did not hit his head, basically his feet. I think at the most he got his pads, right? 2 minutes for goalie interference. 2 minutes, goalie interference. There wasn't a discussion that there was contact. There was nothing other than 2 minutes for interference. And here's what I'm going to say about that. It isn't that there was too many people are concentrating on the suspension part of this situation. I'm going to concentrate on the lack of penalty, which should have been automatic. He did have the puck, but he lost it on the way to the net. And he continued. The puck went one way, and he went for the goaltender. The Brown situation, one of the things that's different, he continued to chase the puck, if anybody saw the play, firstly. Secondly, I want you to hear what I said. He was between a defender and the goaltender. That was not the circumstance. Bennett was on his lonesome. Now imagine, The referees were able to immediately determine there was goalie interference with a player, a defender, there in the, muddying the waters, right? You understand what I mean by muddying the waters. Whereas with the Bennett and Stolar situation, the only two people involved were the goaltender and the guy about to elbow him in the head. And I disagree. He did the same thing to Stolarz that he did to Marchand last year. He threw the punch and then followed with a gentle elbow. It's Stolarz's head. It does two. It does two of these. It does one like this, and then it comes back, and then it gets pushed. Now, for me, it's the penalty that concerns me that wasn't called. The same way 2 years ago, Matthew Nyes was assaulted, is the only way to describe it, sumo wrestler to the ground, and there was no penalty and no suspension. As I thought then, and as I thought recently with the Stolarz thing, it's the fact that there wasn't a penalty that concerns me. And I see a pattern. And anybody who doesn't see that pattern then is just sticking their head in the sand or doesn't give a rat's ass about the Maple Leafs.
And again, it's one of those things where the evidence is right there. The referee is right there. The call is not made. There's public outcry. Oh, look, Maple Leafs fans are soft and they don't know anything about hockey. And, it's the same old cycle of BS that we see over and over and over again.
Maurice is brilliant. I got to grant him that. I like what he said. He said, the referee was right there. Yep. Oh, so Mr. Maurice, you are saying then that this was not a mistake by the referee. This was a calculated error because he had to look at the situation, which says, okay, now I was told at the beginning of the playoffs, we were told we need to protect the goaltenders. Is there a situation where a goaltender is safe with a player doing what Bennett did? Never mind the elbow, the punch that I'm suggesting. Just the fact that that player is going there, not with the puck, but just on his own. There's no idea there in that referee's mind that if I'm protecting, I've got to protect the goaltender. How do I protect? Yeah, I think I should make that guy realize you don't do that stuff. Because if I let him do it, the next guy's going to do it.
I don't know what the thought process was here with the referee missing a play like that. At the end of the day, though, the best way to get back at Sam Bennett is not to do the same thing to him or do the same thing to Bobrovsky. It is to win games, and that's really it.
What he said, I said the same thing as well.
Yep.
That's the best thing the Leafs can do. Winning the game is what matters. That's all that the Leafs have to think about is winning the game. So, Aaron, we know one thing, that Woll was not the number one goaltender. I think that's a fair statement.
Yep.
The Leafs are playing with their backup goaltender because of an official error, an officiating error. And I say that because I go back to Nyes and I go back to some of the calls. I heard some very influential media types talking about, and we've heard this, that Bennett will be a sought-after commodity when free agency kicks in, right, over the summer. I have a point about that because I want to close this issue out, and the best way to do it, I want to wrap this part in there too. The team that gets him has to hope that they can insulate him against the stuff he does that he gets away with Florida. The reason I say that is, when someone assumes that a guy like that can go anywhere and get treated the same way, doesn't believe in teacher's pet principle. I believe in teacher pet principle. Folks, in every class, There's two kinds of people and the ones in between. There's the kind the teacher likes, could be one person, two people, and then there are the people the teacher doesn't like. It doesn't matter why, but it manifests itself from time to time. Favoritism, displeasure. Basically, don't care. In the middle. Do whatever you want. I wanted to finish with that because this idea, I'll mention a player in particular that like this, that came to mind to me, and I couldn't remember his name, was Matt Cook when he changed teams. When he changed teams, for some reason, it was like all of a sudden the NHL said, hey, this is a dirty player. We've got to punish him. It was an about face. He got away with it for years, and then he switched teams. Now, am I saying it's because he switched teams? Maybe. But it happened to be a coincidence. He was getting away with it until he switched teams. Then he switched teams, and all of a sudden, the antennas went up in the National Hockey League, and they said, oh, goodness, there's this guy that doesn't play nice. Let's penalize him. Let's suspend him, to the point where we almost want him to retire, if anybody remembers what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, there's that. There's Kadri, there's Bunting, there's all these guys that seem to get calls and seem to get calls and seem to get calls. And then all of a sudden, the gravy train ends because somebody wises up, because they do it on just a little bit too broad of a stage.
And the Leafs cannot have those kinds of players.
No, there are too many eyes on the Maple Leafs for them to get away with having that kind of a player. That's why Marchand would never work here. That's why Bennett would never work here. That's
those
why
kind of players.
Yeah.
Look at the way Domi's behaving. You know, the way he has to behave, and why the Leaf players have been told don't do anything. Now, I guess we can put a period. Here's the period at the end of the sentence. Those brilliant media guys that were having the conversation also brought up the point where they were totally confused by Domi's penalty, because
he never touched them.
Because, well, it's not just that. It's that, Marchand cross-checked a Leaf. I guess Domi saw it, headed that way, and basically said, what are you doing? Cross-checked another Leaf, and Domi went into the penalty box. That's my point.
Well, there you have it. You know, at the end of the day, we're going to get penalized for stuff we're thinking about doing as opposed to stuff we've actually done.
But what we're learning is it doesn't do any good to fight it. Just go with it. Roll with it. Give your fans, understand and believe that this should be fuel for you to play better. And I believe there's an idiosyncratic situation here. Sorry, didn't mean the big word. There's an oddity here. The Leafs have a head coach, and he said himself, they said to him, so what did you think of that? How should that be dealt with? He said, well, it would be handled differently if I was playing. And he's the coach of this, telling them to not do that. That's the amazing thing about this coach.
No, it's one of those really weird situations, man, where it's like, you know, hey, if this guy was playing when I was playing, this would never happen again. And my last thoughts on the matter,
or it would be addressed, Aaron, in fairness, or it would be addressed, I think is more.
Yeah. So Sam Bennett is going to Sam Bennett.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, the Maple Leafs should leave him alone. However, if he injures another goaltender, that is when you have to make an example out of him.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. Because
I'm hoping it doesn't happen either. I'm hoping Sam is a smarter player than that.
Well, you know, he's put out. This is the second Leaf in the last series. He put out a Leaf out of the playoffs. He's probably put this guy out of the playoffs. The Leafs look. Here's the problem that the Leafs are in. The management team. I respect and appreciate everything you said about, you know, the outside thing. But on the inside, what it is the team doesn't want anybody to know what Stolar's real condition is, because it keeps Florida from wondering, and they can't plan. So every time there's a game, that could be the game that Stolar's comes in, even though the Leafs know that he's gone for a month or he's gone for 3 weeks. Aaron, this is this is why I take the only thing I care about when I see this situation. I want to see him on the ice with pads on. If he's going to play, he's going to have pads on in the morning. If he doesn't have pads on in the morning, he ain't playing. And that's the only time, that is the critical moment when we know if he's going to be in goal or not. Or I rephrase it, if there's a chance he's going to be in goal, because I could see him being in pads in the morning and the Leafs go, well, nope, this ain't it. This ain't the game.
See, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for, is that whole little tease, that whole, you might be in. Uh-oh. You might be in. Uh-oh. Keep teasing it like that, man. You can have him on tenterhooks for the next 3 or 4 games. It'll throw off prison rule Paul's planning. It's what you want to do.
Keep revisiting it. And here's the what I think is the upside. There's a little bit of a slim edge. There's a slim knife's edge here playing. But I'm hoping for the positive part. Every time he gets ready to play and can't, and the deal is made that he doesn't show up, the question I have is, and I hope for the Leafs' sake, and I hope for you as a fan of the Leafs, that it fires up the team before the game and makes them say to themselves, we're going to win this game for Stoli.
Yeah, see, I'd love to see that happen. I would love to see them just carry that all the way through. I don't want to make it a rallying cry already so early into the second round, but at the same time, these boys need to go out and win one.
Yeah, they only should concern themselves with winning. They should leave to the management team, to people such as you and myself, to be the ones that are whiny bitches about what happened. They shouldn't worry about it. They should just worry about playing the best game they can to put themselves closer to accomplishing their goal, which is 16 wins. So 100%. They've got 5. They've got 11 left. Today, if they can win, makes it 6.
And here's the thing. Joseph Woll has a career playoff record of 3-2 with a goals against average of 1.78 and a save percentage of 0.933. I am just absolutely fine with Joseph Woll starting. I have no issues with that whatsoever. He's shown during the regular season that he's a capable, solid, and at this point, uninjured goaltender. So I have no issues with Matt Murray backing him up either. I think that Matt is a welcoming and solid and calming presence on the bench. I'm sure that when Joseph needs some advice or, maybe needs leveling out, I'm pretty sure Matt will be there to give him a little help.
And I think in the context of Murray being the number 3 goaltender, he's not a bad number 3, Aaron.
No,
right?
Not by any stretch.
It's not like he's not Hildeby.
No, he's not Petruzzelli. He's not,
well, he's definitely
or Cavalin. He's definitely not. So we're good in that regard.
In that regard, the Leafs, under the circumstances, losing their number 1 goaltender, who, by the way, I was looking statistically, I think he has the 3rd best record in the playoffs for goaltenders, and 3rd best by 0.02 percentage. And he's ahead of the one below him by, I guess I'm just saying foolish stuff, 31.31 points ahead of the next goaltender beneath him, and that would be Kochetkov. So, the Leafs are missing a really good goaltender, and they're missing a guy who was really thrilled to beat his old team. And the fans are a little achy-eyed about this. There's a little bit of, it ain't fair. This ain't right. And I don't like it. And I heard somebody say this, Aaron, and we've used the word here on this show. Somebody said, well, this whole situation is Leafy. No, it's not. This has nothing to do with the Leafs. Shut the hell up. What are you talking about? This is something that was done to the Leafs. This is not the Leafs doing this. They're the victims in this. No matter how you slice this, the Toronto Maple Leafs were a victim to poor officiating and a lack of sportsmanship. That's all. And
that's really what it boils down to.
That's all.
Yeah.
This is not a Leaf problem. I mean, no, it is a Leaf problem. This is not a Leaf cause. It wasn't caused. It's not a Leafy thing, because I just don't believe people deserve something that isn't bad luck and it's fabricated bad luck. This was fabricated. This was not an accident. So anybody who tries selling that, you know, they can go ahead. Aaron, next thing you want to talk about?
Well, I guess we can look ahead to the history between these two teams and Paul Maurice brushing everything off. But I'd also like to circle around to some other news out of the NHL.
Go ahead.
The Utah Hockey Club now finally has a name.
That's finally a mammoth decision.
Yes, exactly. So they've decided on the name Mammoth. I'm wondering now at this point how much money was paid to the Kroenke Group, because they happen to own another team called the Colorado Mammoth already, and the hashtag that the Utah Mammoth team has chosen is Tusks Up, which is one letter off from the Colorado Mammoth hashtag, which is Tusk Up. So there's some similarities there.
Do we think legal was brought into the decision?
Oh, 100%. And I think they're either due for a rebrand, the Colorado Mammoth are due for a rebrand, or there was enough money that was paid that Kroenke's not going to contest it. So, but at least there's that going for them. In other news, the Oilers have now rallied for an NHL record 5th straight time to win a come-from-behind game. The Oilers have notoriously been slow starters when it comes to this sort of thing in the playoffs.
Not only 5th time, but every time in this playoff.
Yeah, every single time so far they've come from behind
every time.
Like, and this is the first time they've won a first round playoff game. This is the first time they've won the first game of the playoffs in the past couple of years. So they were down 2-0 before going ahead to win 4-2. I think this is also part of what led to Rob Blake's parting of ways with the Los Angeles Kings. They find a way to take the lead back from teams that get up, so it looks like an abject collapse. Now, the Oilers did a fantastic job of keeping Vegas off the board. They only had 7 shots in the final 2 periods. The Golden Knights, interesting enough, are also 47-4 in the postseason with a 2-goal lead. So I don't think this is something we can expect to happen again and again and again. But I am happy to see.
You never know. Well, just to bring this around to Leaf talk, 2 of the key players in that game were Leafs. I talked about Brown at the beginning of the program, and of course, that other guy.
Yep. That Hyman guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy. I really liked him. I really hated the idea that he left.
It was very, very disappointing,
But money dictates.
Yep. Unfortunately, it does, and we weren't in the right position to sort of do that sort of thing.
Like we'd ever be. Yeah, so my thing with Edmonton is, and at the beginning of the program, the first time we mentioned Edmonton, I said that's the one thing about Edmonton. They have a history of starting slow, and they did it in the games, but they did it in the season last year. And thank goodness, Oiler fans, thank goodness, Kane became healthy, Brown became healthy. 2 players that people weren't waiting to get healthy that I was. Brown has proven over the years, his health has been a real traitor to his career, but he has proven when healthy in previous playoffs as well. And even with the Leafs, he got he got 1 or 2 shorthanded goals in the playoffs with the Leafs. Mm-hmm. So this is a speedy guy that knows and has finish. And he's a goal scorer. When he was in junior, he was a big goal scorer. So he knows how to score.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That it for you? You got something else?
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to mention as well was Freddie Anderson did a nice job coming back after missing most of the end of the first round to help the Hurricanes beat the Capitals in Game 1 of their series. But also, Connor Hellebuyck is getting a fresh start. This is important for him. This is important for the team. After having been pulled in 3 of Winnipeg's first games, I am glad to see that he's having the opportunity to sort of right the ship and take ownership of what's going on.
He's made some statements that confuse me.
Mm.
I've been confused by some of the stuff that he said.
Anything in
I don't know.
particular?
Yeah. Was it today? Well, today I think I saw the quote. Was it whether it was from today or yesterday? I'm not sure. Probably from today. In essence, what I understood was I haven't gotten my confidence back. It's the confidence is of the team. It's more of a team thing. It's not an individual thing for me. I can't even repeat what he said, but it was all over the place. Instead of just saying, you know what, this team helped me build my confidence, he said it in a way was totally disjointed, and I was confused with what he was trying to say. I think that might be a hint to why he sometimes has difficulty maintaining his confidence. He might be a guy that overthinks stuff, and then when you ask him a question, you get a garbled version of what he's thinking because he thinks so much.
Mm.
I know the feeling because I kind of have the same way. I can relate to the way he answered the question. It was very disjointed. It was like he was just pulling a couple of words out of the word salad that was rolling around in his brain. The important thing here is if you're a Winnipeg fan, as long as when he goes in there, he settles down to playing the game and being the goaltender he can be, Winnipeg has a really good team, even minus Scheifele. And I got to tell you, I like Winnipeg. I've liked them all along. And if they can escape with another victory, ensure they win their 2 home games, then on the road, it's just a question of splitting. So it's very important. This next game for Winnipeg is very important.
Oh, for sure. And it's one of those things where, and you'll find I do this on this show as well, Frank. You'll find occasionally you'll only get partial sentences out of me, only because I'm self-editing and picking and choosing and trying to figure out.
And
exactly
from where I speak.
100% I do. But yeah, this Jets Star Series is going to be something to watch. So now that Hellebuck has a clean start, and I don't know if Comrie's going to be going back in anytime soon, it seems that he may not necessarily be back 100% on even keel, but he's working towards it. And that is everything that the Jets players need to know.
And feeling this comfortable about a team that's missing their best player and best forward and best defenseman, and a goaltender that's iffy, I'm more confident. This is going to be terrible, Aaron. Don't get mad at me. I'm more confident with Winnipeg than I am with Toronto. There's this thing about Wall that just makes me nervous. That's all. And I hope he relieves my disbelief. That the problem with Wall is, and I think what made him the guy that was the winner, right? What made him the winner is the fact that he didn't let in as many bad goals as Wall did. Wall they both played really well. And when they played well, you couldn't tell the difference between the two. It was only the small little moment in the game when Wall did something that, he had an oopsie. He had more oopsies than Stolarz. And I think that's why Stolarz became the number 1 goaltender. But that doesn't mean that Wall can't play well. He's proven under pressure. He's done it in the playoffs. So we're not talking about a guy who's playing his first playoff game, right? He's been there, done that. He knows what it's all about. And this time he gets to in the morning say to himself, okay, I'm playing goal tonight. That was pretty disadvantageous to go to a game and sit there and your buddy's saying, how you doing? I'm fine, have a laugh. Yeah. And then about a minute later, he starts throwing up and you're going,
yeah. The good news is coverage starts in about 2 minutes or so for the Florida and Toronto game, which is fantastic. We'll have a chance to see that go live at 7:00.
Are you saying you'd like to leave?
I'm just mentioning the timelines here, and we'll be able to follow that up with Dallas and Winnipeg at 9:30. So there's a full double header going.
We're gonna be busy tonight, buddy.
Oh, definitely. We definitely are.
I'm trying to decide whether I'm going out to watch the game or I'm going to stay home to watch the game. I just don't want to. I don't want to miss any of it.
Well, I guess it all depends on how far away wherever it is you're going is.
Well, listen, you're in a bar, ordering beer, drinking beer. You're there with friends. Please, you're not going to be looking at the screen often enough for my liking.
No, that's true.
That's just the truth of it. And it isn't the same going home and saying, okay, I'm going to watch that game now because you know how it ended.
This is very true as well.
And the other thing is I have a girlfriend that doesn't like air horns in restaurants.
Oh, yeah, no, that'll definitely do it. So are fans actually bringing air horns in?
Yeah, she has 2 hearing aids.
Oh, wow.
And we're like 6 feet from somebody with an air horn. And oh my goodness, she's only about 5'1", but the anger that rises when she hears that air horn, I have to hold her and say, leave the person alone. Don't kill them. It's not nice. You know, that kind of thing. I'm half teasing anybody who knows her. Yeah. So, okay. Well, in that case, then I want to pick something for you to talk about.
Okay.
Okay. You talked about Anderson. You talked about that. We talked about the Oilers. We talked about the Jets. You know, we pretty much talked about everything.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So then let's do this. To end the show, I'm asking you, what do the Leafs have to do in a minute or less to win this game?
So first off, they have to start fast like they did last game. I know they're not likely to score a goal in the first 33 seconds, but a goal in the first 5 minutes, as long as it's the first goal of the game, would greatly help. Bennett, police and contain him. Don't hurt him. Don't damage him. Just
legally damage. Legally.
Oh yeah, no, legally hit him all you want.
Damage.
Don't get yourselves in the box over this. This is not the sort of thing that you're looking for. In addition, don't touch the goalie. don't touch Bobrovsky or whoever they put in net today. That's fine. You know, looking at the Leafs lineup, I was glad to see that they had made the smart decision and we're still keeping Reeves out. You don't need to bring him in yet.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. He does not need to come in. He can come in. They can bring him in, you know, if they win the series. He can come and skate around the ice after the Leafs win the series.
And last but not least, Patches has to be awesome with Tavares and Nylander. And he's got 2 great guys to pass to. So I think he can be awesome with that.
Check. I'll add to that the lines have to move quickly. They got to play short shifts. And they've got to keep Florida honest. They've got to stay on them. They've got to forecheck the way. They've got to take away Florida's biggest strength, and that is forechecking. If you can forecheck better than them, you're taking their game away from them, and you probably will score the first goal. And if you score the first goal, Nyes is waiting for breakaway goals.
Perfect.
Sounds like a good scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it plays the way we said, because, you know, we want to continue this show, and to do so, the Leafs have to win.
They really do.
Aaron wants them to win because he loves the Leafs. I want them to win because I want to continue doing the show. There you go. But I do love Toronto. Toronto's my favorite city. I was born there, and I support Toronto more than I do the Maple Leafs. I support Canada more than I support any individual team as well. So we've got 3 really good teams that I think have a good shot to move forward, and it would be amazing. It would be truly amazing to have 3 of the 4 teams left standing be Canadian. That would just be awesome. I can hear Bettman shaking in his boots right now, just with the thought. Aaron, thanks for doing this, buddy. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. He's Aaron William Freeland. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. This has been Leaf Talk. You can check out some of the shows that we do. Candid Frank Stanisci, 10:30 on YouTube. See you then next time. Have a great night. Enjoy the hockey, folks. Do great games.